a clinical psychologist, I'm a practicing psychologist. So I welcome you, Kiran, to this Zoom live session. And as advised, we have more people will join the group as the session proceeds. So I request you to start the session and give a gist of the presentation, and then we will take questions. Yeah, and interaction to clear the doubts of the students.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, I request all the participants to mute their microphone while the session is on, and only when they are when they want to ask some questions, they can raise their hands, they can use the chat box, and also they can interact after the presentation. And over to I hand over the session to Dr. Kiran Rath.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this opportunity. And I must also congratulate you on this great initiative.
Can you please on your video?
Sure,
what does it say? You have to put down in German. The sentence is bitte auf Deutsch.
Okay.
And what is your?
Yes, ma'am. So thank you. Thanks a lot for this opportunity, ma'am. And I also want to congratulate you on this great initiative, because stress management is the need of the hour. And as we are all dealing with pandemic, so this mental health has also become very important, and people are realizing its importance. And pandemic itself is a stress, created a lot of stress in all of us. So stress management is a very important and a need of the hour topic. So ma'am, you want me to, what I've done is prepared a PPT short presentation of the unit. Do you want me to go ahead and present that, the unit, take them like forward, in a fast forward manner, the whole unit, or how do you want me to go about it?
No, it is like this. It's up to the students. They have already they have gone through the videos that we have recorded and uploaded.
Okay.
And you can give a gist of the present,
yes.
gist of the
So
unit.
gist of what the unit is all about. I'll just
you can use the PowerPoint presentation also to make it more.
You want me to?
If you feel it is convenient, you can use the PowerPoint.
So very fast, I'll just take the students and all of you through what this unit is about. And as ma'am has mentioned that many of you have already gone through the unit, so have a basic idea, knowledge about what this unit is. So this unit is about stress response. So see, you already know what stress is. Stress is the reaction which we have when some demand is placed on us, and then we assess that we don't have the resources, personal or social resources available to be able to meet that demand. And then when we have that realization that we'll not be able to cope up with the demand of a situation or an event, then stress is experienced by the person. Ma'am, should I share the screen, or just go ahead and present?
You can share the presentation and run through this.
Okay, I'll just share the screen and fastly so that, okay. Okay, so are you able to see the screen now?
Yes, yes.
Just try.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, so in this unit, basically, as I mentioned, we'll be discussing the concept of stress response. So stress response is actually, so there have been various theories, specifically physiological theories, which have been put forth to explain what happens to us physiologically, biologically, when we experience stress. And the two important theories are fight or flight response and general adaptation syndrome. So that these two theories are what we will be discussing, or basically you will be studying in this unit. So before that, as I just mentioned, stress is reaction we have to excessive pressures or demands placed upon us, and when we realize that we will not be able to cope up with that demand. So if you feel that, oh, okay, I can manage, I have the resources to be able to manage this situation, then you will experience eustress. the type of stress which will help you to perform better. But if you have a realization that I'll not be able to meet up with the demand, not be able to cope up with it, I don't have resources, then you will experience stress. That is the distress, the negative aspect of stress. Okay, so stress is like, usually the formula is stress is equal to when pressures are exceeding the resources, whatever the personal social resources the person might not be having them to be able to meet the demands. Okay, so stress response, as I've mentioned, or flight or flight response, is the emergency reaction of the body. It is a biological or physiological response, physiological or biochemical response, which is given by the body when you experience stress. So stress, in another way we can say, is that we experience stress when we perceive something as a threat to our well-being. Okay, so, and this, when I say perceiving, so it can be like, there can be a real threat in front of you, or you interpret a situation as a threat to you. You interpret a situation as a threat to your well-being, then we experience stress. So the moment you experience something as a threat to your well-being, then it triggers a fight or flight or stress response in our body. And this fight or flight or stress response includes physiological and cognitive responses in our body. It triggers a series of physiological and psychological responses or reactions. Okay. So this stress response, what it does is, once you experience something as a threat, it triggers a fight or flight response. So you see, now in the best way I can tell you is, we are all wired to experience stress. Okay, our body is made to experience stress. Stress helps us to deal with whatever threatful is there in our environment. So when you perceive something, and specifically this stress response is what helped the primitive man to be able to manage the threatening environment which he had to deal with continuously. So what happens in stress response is that, or we also call it as a fight or flight response. So when we face a threat, there are only two available options for us. One is either run away from that threat, or to fight that threat. So to be able to run away from the threat, or even if that option, that escape option is not available, and you are going to fight for your life, you need much more than the strength which you are normally capable of. For example, like, there is a lion in front of you. So there are only two options available: either run from that, try to escape from that lion, and if that is not possible, then you fight for your life. So in either of these scenarios, you need a boost of strength. You need strength which you are not normally capable of. You need more, 5 times, 10 times more strength to be able to fight that threat. And the beauty of the body is that it is wired to help you to be able to manage that threat. So what this fight and flight response does is, it triggers a series of physiological, I'll come to that. So before that, I'll just tell you what the stress response is. So this is what I said. So you experience, there could be a potentially stressful event or a situation. It could be something like, see, for the earlier man, it would have been threatening environment. He had to fight lions, tigers, and all that. And for our, in current day scenario, it could be, you are in trouble with your parents, or you have an exam, there is a financial setback. So any event you perceive, you interpret as a threat to you, will trigger. And this threat, once you start to assess that threat, and then you perceive that, you appraise, like, this is the situation, and then you go into an appraisal mode where you see, do I have the resources available to manage that threat or not? And then you perceive that I'll not be able to control what is happening to me. I will not be able to manage this event. I'll not be able to get myself out of it. Then it triggers a series of responses, that is emotions, physiological, and behavioral. So emotional response would be like, if you feel that you'll not be able to manage that event, not be able to control the consequences, then you will experience annoyance, anger, anxiety. Physiological response is what is important for this unit, because this is what we are going to cover. The fight and flight response and general adaptation syndrome, both of those things come under physiological responses. So there is there are series of physiological, biochemical, and physiological responses gets triggered when we experience stress, okay, and which leads to autonomic arousal, hormonal imbalance, fluctuations, neurochemical changes, and so on. Behavioral response would be like, you will indulge in negative behavior, such as like, you'll lash out at others, you'll get angry, you'll blame others, and sometimes there could be positive coping strategies also, like, you will indulge in problem solving strategies, you will try to seek out help, all of those things, okay. So fight or flight response is of the physiological response of the body when we experience something as stressful or something as a threat to our well-being, okay. See, in psychological, see, what happens is that mind does not have eyes, okay, so it won't know whether there is a lion in front of you or somebody holding a gun to you, or you thought of a lion in your mind, okay. So similarly, like, people who have phobias and who have panic attacks, like, people who don't like to go on to close spaces, and even the thought of taking the lift will be threatening to their well-being, and that will trigger panic attacks in them. And that is what stress response is. So Walter Cannon was the first one to describe the effects of acute stress, okay, and he termed this reaction as fight or flight responses. So what this fight or flight response is, the moment you experience, the moment you perceive that there is a threat in front of you, your cerebral cortex, that is the thinking part of your brain, it will send alarm signals to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is the it is located in midbrain, okay, and this is hypothalamus, you can even call it as the main switch for the stress response. So what this hypothalamus, as soon as the cerebral cortex sends signal to the hypothalamus will stimulate sympathetic nervous system, okay, and this stimulation of sympathetic nervous system will trigger a series of changes in the body. What it does is, it will the moment your sympathetic nervous system gets triggered, it will increase your heart rate will increase, your breathing rate will increase, your blood pressure will increase, your muscle tension will increase, and your metabolism will increase, and your blood pressure will increase, and the hormones, adrenaline will be released into the body. So when all this, when sympathetic nervous system gets activated, so what happens is that, when your heartbeat is increasing, means the body is trying to pump more blood. So as I told you that when you are faced with a threat, there are only two options: either run from that threat or fight for your life, okay. Either of the scenarios, you need a boost of strength. So when this fight or flight response gets triggered, there is a sense of, like, you can say, like, a country is under attack. So when there is an emergency, all the important departments will get active. Similarly, in our body, when there is a sense of emergency gets declared, so the body will, there are like the heart will start to pump more blood to give you that boost of strength. You will start to take in more air to get that energy, and adrenaline will be released, sugars will be released into your blood, so that to give you that boost of energy, that strength. So all these systems, like the important systems, certain systems will start to function 4 times, 5 times their capacity, and certain systems will slow down, because as I just mentioned, like, similarly, like if a country is under attack, so what happens, certain departments will start to function 4 to 5 times their capacity, and certain departments will be shut down, because we don't want to waste our resources there. We want to concentrate on preserving resources to help us fight the enemy. Similarly, in the body also, certain systems will be shut down or will be slowed down, and certain systems will start to function 4 to 5 times their capacity. And the systems which start to function more will be a circulatory system, your pulmonary system, your hormones, like adrenaline glands will be stimulated, so that they will release adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine. All these hormones will be released, sugars will be released to give you that boost of strength, and the body is capable of able to give you that boost of strength, so that you fight that whatever your danger is, you fight, or you be able to run from that and escape. And the systems which get slowed down would be your digestive system. So when you are faced with a threat, body will not allow you to feel hunger. Your so the systems which get shut down or slowed down would be your digestive system, reproductive system, growth, tissue repair. Your immune system will also be slowed down. Your inflammatory systems will also be slowed down. So once you have dealt with the threat, once you get that boost of energy and you are able to escape, manage that threat, the body takes a rest, and then all the systems will get back to the normal functioning. So once you have dealt with the threat, you take the body is able to take rest on, and then the homeostasis, the balance will be restored. All the systems will start to function well. So that is how we deal with threats. Basically, the physiological response, the fight or flight response is, or we also call it as a stress response. So that is what happens when we experience stress, or when we interpret something as a threat to us. Okay, so that is what it is. So during fight or flight response, as I mentioned, adrenaline is secreted, cortisol hormone, we also call it as stress hormone, is released, which gives a burst of energy. Heartbeat starts to beat faster because it starts to pump more blood. Your breathing rate increases because you want to take in more air to be able to give energy to the muscles to be able to run. Blood sugar is released into the bloodstream. Hearing and sight gets enhanced. So your sense of hearing and your sense of vision will get enhanced. Digestive system and urine productions, they slow down, so that the blood is diverted to important areas. Okay, so this is all the physiological response which I said. So all this happens when we when fight or flight response gets triggered. What are the flight and flight response comes under biological response given by your body when faced with something threatening, or when we experience stress. And this biological or physiological response, the purpose behind it is to give you that boost of energy to be able to manage, to be able to cope up with that strength. Okay. And what are the psychological responses? So automatic reactions include a quickening of thought. So your thinking ability gets enhanced, and your attention focus will be, you will be able to focus on important areas, where to target main sources of whatever threat. You will be able to focus on areas of threat, and the ways in which you can escape that threat. Okay. Secondary psychological responses can include appraisal about, this is when I'm talking about secondary psychological responses, this is what happens with people who have panic disorders. So what happens with them is that, as I told you, mind does not have eyes. So if there is a line in front of you, or you're dealing with threat, you have heard of soldiers during war situations, even when they are riddled with bullets, they don't feel pain. They straightforward march ahead, and then they are in their war situation. So even if they are injured very badly also, they still get that energy, that boost of strength. They don't experience pain, they don't feel hunger, they cannot sleep, because body will not allow you to sleep also when you are faced with threat. So such critical situations, when something is threatening to you, your well-being, so at that moment, you are not really thinking about what is happening with my body. You are just focused on managing the threat. But I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, and suddenly I'm thinking that, I'm just thinking that, oh my God, I have to give a presentation. What if I don't, give a good presentation? What if the students, they don't like my presentation? Just this thought came out of nowhere while I'm talking to you people. What if I get stuck? What if I say something wrong? Just this thought comes. The moment this thought comes and I pay attention to it, so what happens? I am interpreting this situation of me giving a presentation to you as a threat to my well-being. Okay, so the moment I interpret this as a threat to my well-being, it will trigger fight or flight response. And as I mentioned, fight or flight response means physiological responses get triggered in the body. So I'm sitting here talking to you all, and this got switched on, fight and flight response. And suddenly I'm experiencing that my heartbeat is increasing. My breathing is getting affected. I'm not able to talk to you people, properly, because I am like hyperventilating. I'm taking in more air. My heartbeat is increasing. I'm sweating. I'm flushing. So what will happen is, suddenly my attention will turn from, thinking about this presentation where I might fail, to focusing on my physiological response. What is happening to my body? I'm just sitting here, and why my heartbeat is increasing? Am I having a heart attack? So the moment my focus will shift from this, focus on this event to my bodily reactions, I'll get more scared. Because we have never heard that sitting itself, talking, giving a presentation and heartbeat increasing. So till now we've all heard that if your heartbeat is increasing for no reason, you're sweating, you're hyperventilating, then immediate thought is something is wrong with the body. Okay, so that in turn will trigger more panic attack in the person. So from then onwards, giving presentation will become, the person will start to associate giving presentation with feeling panic or something going wrong with their body. So this is what we mean by secondary responses. This is very common in panic attacks. So what happens is that if they're driving and suddenly a thought comes out of nowhere about something threatening, and then fight and flight response gets triggered, and they start to experience the heartbeat is increasing and all that, they get scared that am I having a heart attack? From then onwards, that person will stop driving. He will start to associate himself feeling these physical reactions with driving, and will be scared of driving from then onwards. Will be scared that what if I have a heart attack while I drive? So that is how conditioning takes place. So some message is coming. Yeah. So as I mentioned, so this is what fight or flight response is. So it is not if you then from this only the general adaptation syndrome, which was given by Hans Selye. What he's done is, Walter Cannon, he has proposed fight or flight response as something, it is a physiological, involuntary physiological response given by the body when faced with something threatful or faced with a stressful event. But Hans Selye, he went ahead and described in what ways, the ways in which the body responds when we experience stress. And he has given, according to him, there are 3 stages that the body goes through when we are exposed to something stressful or something threatening. Okay, so and what are these 3 stages? They are alarm reaction, resistance, and exhaustion. So this alarm reaction is what we just described. Fight and flight response takes place during this alarm reaction. So it is the immediate reaction of the body when you are faced with something stressful or a threat. So this, as I've already mentioned, so what happens in alarm reaction is nothing but what takes place when is nothing but alarm reaction is similar to, or it is same as fight or flight response. Okay, so in this stage, a distress signal. So the moment you perceive something as a threat to you, a distress signal is sent by the cerebral cortex to the hypothalamus, and from this, then this hypothalamus stimulates your sympathetic nervous system to enable the release of hormones, and it triggers your sympathetic nervous system, so that your heart starts to pump more blood, you take in more air, your muscle will experience heightened muscle tension, your metabolism will increase, your blood pressure will increase. All this is concentrated to giving you a boost of energy. Okay, so as your heart rate increases, and the blood pressure will obviously rise up, and blood sugar level will also go up. So all these changes, physiological changes, are governed to give you that boost of energy to be able to respond to whatever stressor you are facing and experiencing at that moment. And this is known as fight or flight response. Then comes the next stage. So fight and flight response or alarm reaction is the immediate response of the body to something which is threatening to you, or something which is stressful. And during resistance, something stressful or something threatening can, whatever we are fighting, can be there for a few seconds to few minutes. It can also be there for a few hours, days, or months also. So we can experience chronic stress also. We can be in a situation where the stress is persisting. It is there. And so what happens during this time is, after the initial alarm reaction, then the resistance stage comes. Here the body will try to balance or counteract the physiological changes that happen during the alarm reaction. Here the body is trying to adapt to the changes. Okay, is trying to bring the body back to its normal equilibrium stage by adjusting itself or trying to adapt or employ some coping strategies if the stress is persisting. See, if the stress is for a few minutes and you have dealt with it, and take a period of rest, then the body will come to its stage of balance or homeostasis. But if the stress persists, then the body will try to adapt to the stress. It will try to it will try to do its best to bring it to a normal state. But if it continues, there will be ways we will employ different coping strategies. These coping strategies could be like, we are taking care of our physical health. So if something stressful is going on, you take care of your health, you indulge in self-care where you're eating properly, you seem to eat that you're eating good food, you're going for exercises, and psychologically you will try to cope up by asking for help, tapping whatever resources available to you, employing healthy coping strategies. You might go for meditation, you might go for different strategies, both psychological and physiological. You will try to employ. If the stress persists, you will try to adapt your best. But still, if the stressor continues, it remains for long, then what happens? The body can enter into a stage of exhaustion. Okay, so then the body, it will try its best to come to its normalcy. But if the stressor is remaining, then the body will continuously be in a state of alert. And this continuous alert, the stage of being alert all the time, where you're continuously experiencing experiencing stress in your environment. So it can, as I told you, fight and flight response means the certain systems which are functioning more than their capacity. So if your blood pressure is continuously high because you experience something stressful in your environment, your heart rate is high. Sorry for this. So along with that, what is happening? There are negative. Excuse me. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Yeah. Can you give me a minute? I'll get something to.
Ma'am, please sip a water and just take a couple of minutes rest.
Sorry for that. I had a severe cold and cough, and this cough comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, can I intervene, Kiran?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yeah.
actually, there is some problem in scheduling the Zoom meeting. We have scheduled it for 1 hour, but it has taken half hour, and this session might end in another 2 minutes 30 seconds. So after that, what we are doing, we are creating one more link and posting it in the group. So I request all the participants to join using that link again, so that we can have interaction in the next half an hour. Okay, I hope all of you got this information. Yes, here itself, Naresh has posted the Zoom link. So using that link, you please join the next session. Thank you, Kiran Karthik, please. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
ఏమనుకున్నా
మేడం ఇది క్లోజ్ చేసి నెక్స్ట్ మీటింగ్ ఆన్ చేయనా దాంట్లో జాయిన్
నెక్స్ట్ మీటింగ్ ఇది క్లోజ్ చేయకండి, ఇంకా జాయిన్ అవుతున్నారు. ఉండనండి 1 minute. ఇంకోటి ఆన్ చేయండి నరేష్.
ఓకే మేడం.
I just requested the participants to join Bhadrali because this schedule is being timed out. We are in second